Let me ask you something. Have you ever given everything to a job, years of your life, your loyalty, your best work, only to be told you're no longer needed? If you're watching this right now, maybe you're sitting at a job where you feel invisible. Maybe you're over 40 and you've started noticing how they look at you in meetings. Maybe you're terrified that one day you'll walk in and they'll hand you a box. I'm about to tell you about a woman named Margaret. On her 58th birthday, after 32 years of perfect service, they fired her, escorted her out like a criminal, threw away 3 decades like it was nothing. But here's what nobody expected. 5 years later, Margaret walked back into that same building, but this time she wasn't an employee. She was the owner. She bought the entire company, and the CEO who fired her, he was about to learn what real revenge looks like. Stay with me, because what Margaret did next is something you'll never forget. And if you've ever felt thrown away, overlooked, or told you're too old, this story is for you. Margaret started at that company in 1990. She was 26 years old, fresh out of college, full of dreams. For the next 32 years, she gave them everything. She was the first one in every morning, last one out every night. She trained new employees. She fixed problems nobody else could solve. She turned down job offers from competitors because she believed in loyalty. 15 times she was named Employee of the Year. 15 times. She knew every client's name, every supplier's birthday, every system, every process, every shortcut. She was the backbone of that company, and everyone knew it. Her husband passed away in 2016, cancer. After that, work became everything. It was her purpose, her identity, her reason to get up every morning. She thought she'd retire there. Gold watch, nice speech. Maybe they'd name a conference room after her. She had no idea what was coming. In 2022, the company got a new CEO, Derek, 35 years old, MBA from Harvard. Never worked a real day in his life, but he had ideas, big ideas. He called it workforce modernization. What it really meant? Anyone over 50 had a target on their back. March 15th, 2022, Margaret's 58th birthday. She walked into the office that morning with a small cake her neighbor had made. She thought maybe someone would remember. Maybe they'd sing. Instead, she got a calendar invite. Quick chat with HR. They didn't even let her sit down properly before they said it. We're going in a different direction. Your position has been eliminated. Security will escort you out. 32 years. 5 words. Your position has been eliminated. They gave her 15 minutes to pack her things. 15 minutes to erase 32 years. Her colleagues, people she'd trained, mentored, and helped get promoted, wouldn't even look at her. She walked out still holding that birthday cake. Nobody sang. She sat in her car for 3 hours, just sat there, crying, screaming, asking God what she did wrong. That night she didn't eat, didn't sleep, just sat in the dark, trying to understand how 32 years meant nothing. The next week she started applying for jobs, senior roles. She had 32 years of experience. How hard could it be? She applied to 247 jobs in 4 months. She got 3 interviews, 0 offers. In one interview, the hiring manager, who couldn't have been older than 30, actually said to her face, "We're looking for someone more adaptable, someone who can grow with the company long term." Long term. She understood what that meant. You're too old. You're going to retire soon anyway. Why invest in you? Her savings started running out. $50,000 became $30,000, then $20,000, then $10,000. She started having panic attacks at 3 a.m., heart racing, couldn't breathe. wondering how she'd pay the mortgage, wondering if she'd end up on the street. One night, she looked at her husband's photo and said out loud, "Maybe I should just give up. Maybe they're right. Maybe I'm too old. Maybe I'm worthless." She was 58 years old, alone, broke, invisible, and she was ready to quit. Then her granddaughter showed up, Emma, 16 years old, bright, stubborn, full of fire. She took one look at Margaret and said, "Grandma, what happened to you?" Margaret told her everything: the firing, the rejections, the fear, the shame. And when she was done, Emma looked at her with those young, fearless eyes and said something that changed everything. "Grandma, you know more about that industry than anyone alive. You trained half the people in this city. Why are you begging them for a job? Why don't you just start your own company and take all their clients?" Margaret almost laughed. "Sweetheart, I'm 58. I don't know how to start a company. I don't have money. I don't have—" Emma interrupted her. "Grandma, you have 32 years of experience. You have relationships with every client they have. You have everything. The only thing you don't have is permission, and you don't need anyone's permission." That night, Margaret couldn't sleep. But for the first time in months, it wasn't because of fear. It was because of possibility. She started the next morning. No office, no employees, no investors. Just a laptop, a phone, and 32 years of knowledge. She called every client she'd ever worked with, every contact, every relationship she'd built over 3 decades. "Hi, it's Margaret. I'm starting my own consulting firm. I know your business better than anyone. Give me one chance." Her first client was a small manufacturing company she'd helped years ago. They remembered her. They trusted her. They gave her a chance. She worked 16-hour days. At 58, no weekends, no breaks, just pure determination. One client became 3, 3 became 10, 10 became 50. She hired her first employee, another woman over 50, who'd been modernized out of her job, then another, and another. Her company became known for one thing: hiring people everyone else had thrown away, the unhirables. They're too old, the overqualified, and they worked harder than anyone because they had something to prove. Year 1, $200,000. Year 2, $2 million. Year 3, $10 million. Year 4, $25 million. Year 5, $50 million. Margaret's little kitchen table startup was now one of the most successful consulting firms in the industry. And everyone who had laughed at her, rejected her, and thrown her away, they weren't laughing anymore. Remember the company that fired her? The one with the young, hotshot CEO? They were in trouble. Derek's workforce modernization had backfired. All that experience he threw away, turns out it mattered. Clients left, quality dropped, profits collapsed. By 2027, they were desperate, looking for a buyer, anyone. And that's when Margaret got a very interesting phone call. She didn't just buy the company. She walked into that negotiation and bought it for 40 cents on the dollar, because she knew exactly how much it was worth. She'd built half of it herself. The moment she signed those papers, Derek's face went white. He finally understood. The woman he threw away like garbage had just bought everything he had. The day Margaret walked back into that building as the owner, the same building she was escorted out of 5 years earlier, she gathered everyone together. She said, "5 years ago, I was marched out of here on my 58th birthday, thrown away like I was nothing, because someone decided I was too old to matter. Today, I want to make one thing clear. Under my leadership, no one will ever be thrown away because of their age. Your experience is not a liability, it's your superpower. And to anyone watching who's been told they're too old, too outdated, too finished, let me tell you something. You're not finished. You're just getting started." Margaret is 63 now. Her company employs over 400 people. More than half of them are over 50. People the world over said we were finished. And Derek, the CEO who thought he was so smart, last I heard, he's consulting, which is corporate speak for unemployed. But here's what I want you to take from this story. It's not about revenge. It's not about money. It's about this one truth. The only person who can decide you're finished is you. Maybe right now, you're sitting at a job where you feel invisible. Maybe you're terrified of the next restructuring. Maybe you've already been let go, and you're wondering what's next. I want you to hear this. Your age is not a weakness. It's 20, 30, or 40 years of wisdom that no 25-year-old with an MBA can match. You've survived recessions. You've adapted to technology changes. You've built relationships. You've solved problems that don't exist in textbooks. You are not obsolete. You are irreplaceable. Margaret didn't have a business plan. She didn't have investors. She didn't have permission. She had 32 years of experience and a granddaughter who reminded her what she was worth. You don't need permission either. If Margaret's story moved you, share it with someone who needs to hear it today. Someone who's been made to feel worthless. Someone who's ready to give up. Remind them what Margaret proved. It's not too late. It's never too late. Until next time, remember, your story isn't over yet.